Richard, can you test your mic for us, please?
Yes, hello everybody.
Great, thank you. We're just having technical difficulties with YouTube, so we are delaying our start by a few minutes for anyone online wondering here.
Okay, it's 5:05 p.m. on Monday, August the 26th, 2024. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the Corporation of the Town of Saugeen Shores. And our first order of business is the land acknowledgement, and Member Martin will read that for us this evening.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional lands and treaty territory of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which consists of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash unceded First Nation. We understand that this land holds immense significance to the people of Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. We appreciate those who live and work alongside us today and who continue the traditions of their ancestors as stewards of the land we are privileged to inhabit. We thank them for the contributions they have made in both caring for the land and in shaping this community. We commit to truth and reconciliation, to acknowledging the truth about what happened to Indigenous peoples because of colonization, and to reconciliation, which begins with each and every one of us. As a local government and public organization, we are dedicated to learning about Indigenous culture, to fostering a better relationship with First Nations and their people, and we commit ourselves to actions that move us forward on a path to healing, along with the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is a disclosure of pecuniary interest in the nature thereof. You can do that at this point or at any time during the meeting. Seeing none, then we have draft Committee of Adjustment minutes from our last meeting on July the 15th, 2024. I have a recommended motion here that the minutes of the July 15th, 2024 meeting be adopted as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Member Wallace, seconded by Councillor Stack. Sorry about that. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. We have one application on our agenda tonight. So next on the agenda is a public hearing for minor variance file number A-2024-023 for 17 Beausoleil Road. And the application is by Barry's Construction. This is a public hearing under the Planning Act. If anyone from the public is interested in this application or wishes to receive a notice of the decision, please send an email to bcplpe@brucecounty.on.ca. And first, we're going to receive a report from the county planner, Julie Steeper, and Julie's online. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. This application this evening seeks relief from the front yard and exterior side yard setbacks. The proposed front yard setback is 4.2 meters, whereas the required front yard setback in the zoning bylaw is 6 meters. The proposed exterior side yard setback is 2.9 meters, whereas the required side yard setback in the zoning bylaw is 4.5 meters. If approved, the application would facilitate the new construction of a single detached dwelling at 17 Beausoleil Road. The property is located west of Highway 21, which is Railway Street, and east of McNabb Street, and it's surrounded by residential uses. The proposed single detached dwelling is a residential use and permitted within both designations of the county and local official plan. The application does maintain the intent and purpose of the official plans. The variance is required for the east rear back corner of the house, and the applicant has designed the house in a manner that is parallel to the west side property line, while limiting the encroachment into the required northern setback. One of the main purposes of the exterior side yard setback, which is the setback between the house and the street, is to maintain sight lines at intersections. The applicant has confirmed there are no encroachments into the 10 meters site visibility triangle. Staff are satisfied that there would be adequate sight lines. The intent of the front yard setback is to ensure there is ample room for parking and to ensure that the building is at an appropriate and reasonable safe distance from the road. The applicant has confirmed that there will be sufficient space to accommodate parking. The proposed front yard setback would still fulfill the purpose and is considered reasonable in nature to allow. The proposed relief in the front yard only relates to a corner of the house. The dwelling would generally be aligned with other homes along the street, and the proposal would maintain the intended purpose of the zoning bylaw. We received comments from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, and staff, SVCA staff find the application acceptable. No concerns were raised from agencies, and no public comments were received on this application. And this concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Steeper. Now, if the applicant who is here in person, if you would like to speak, you're welcome to. Oh, I see a indication of that they are not going to do that. Then we will hear from the public who are here in person or virtually, or who have submitted correspondence to the county via email. I believe we have 2 members of the public here, and I see one person at the microphone. If you could make sure that the mic is turned on, there's a little button on the side there. And Karina, is it turned on? Okay, and make sure you put it right level with you, so that then people online can hear. And if you can just state your name, and that would be great. And then go ahead. Thank you.
I'm Bonnie Hastings, and I live at 15 Beausoleil, so I'm right next to the property that you're talking about. And actually, I've had...
Sorry to interrupt. I don't think the mic is on.
It's good.
Oh, is it?
No, I think it turns red.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. anyway, a number of my questions that I had when I came here have already been pretty much answered. And the reason that I had the questions was because the diagram, first of all, on the front of the paper, the blue line that shows where the house would be or the property would be is not correct, apparently, because it shows the front of the property line coming out past my home. But I've been told that that's not correct, that it will be in line with the homes that are already on the street. I hope that's correct. And the second thing that I was worried about was the side lot, which says it's going to be smaller, but they didn't designate which side of the house was the side lot they were talking about. So I was worried about my side lot along that side, and apparently you were really talking about the side lot that goes toward Eastgate Road Drive. So if the side lot against my house is going to stay the same as the it says it's supposed to be, the bylaw, then that's fine with me. I have no problem. And if it's going to be lined up with the other houses on the street, that's also not a problem. So I have no problem. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hastings. And maybe Karina, can you just zip up and turn the mic off there, please? I could appreciate your comment about the blue line on the drawing. Sometimes, you know, the way that technology works, it's not exactly where it should be. So I'm glad you were able to get some clarification about that. Let's see, where am I at here? Committee members now have an opportunity, if they'd like, to ask clarifying questions, but I would ask you to reserve any comments on the application until the public hearing is closed. Are there any questions for clarification? Member Martin and then the Vice Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This is a question through you to Ms. Steeper, and it is in relation to the proposed variance in regards to the front yard setback of 4.2 meters versus the bylaw of 6. In any way, does the allowance of this variance shorten the driveway? I realize that the applicant says there's adequate parking, but I'm more interested in whether or not there is any shortening of the bylaw requirements for length of driveway or anything like that as a result of this variance, if it were to go ahead.
If I may, through you, Chair. So the driveway isn't shown on the drawing, but there's no other further relief required because of this variance. And perhaps the applicants can speak to the driveway length specifically.
If I could just do a follow-up again through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Steeper. So what is the bylaw requirement for length of a driveway? I know that we've got to have 2 parking spots, but as far as the actual length, if there is a bylaw requirement.
I don't know offhand. My apologies. I would have to look that up. But the length, I'm not certain. If Candice is able to perhaps assist in that question.
Through you, Madam Chair, I do believe that there is a minimum width requirement, but the length requirement I don't believe is specified in the actual bylaw.
Vice Deputy Mayor Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just had 3 quick questions. Could you just read to me, Ms. Steeper, again, your comment about the sight lines? What did you read? I just missed that point there. Tell me what you said about the sight lines.
So typically there's a requirement for adequate sight lines to be maintained. That's the reason why we have an exterior side yard setback. And I feel like those would be maintained in this case. There's typically a 10-meter triangle, and that's being fulfilled here with this application.
Well, that's fine. And these are just confirmation questions. They've been said, but I just want to reiterate, just rehash about the house alignment. And I know our developers here, Stu, if I could. So just clarify, the front of the house will absolutely 100% line up with the other homes, the frontage?
Okay. So the proposed house will line up with the 6-meter set.
Excuse me, Mr. Doyle, can you just state your full name and maybe lift the mic up a bit too? Thank you.
Okay, just tell me what I'm doing. All right. Stuart Doyle with Barry's Construction. Microphone's there. Our house will meet the 6-meter setback that is currently allowed in the zoning bylaw. I don't know, and I can't confirm whether what I have in front of me that their houses are at 6-meter setback. I suspect they are, based on the depth of their lots. So whether I can say 100% they'll be exactly the same, I don't know sitting here, but I suspect they are, yes. Or they won't be very far off.
Won't be very far off.
No.
While you're up, if I could, the driveway size, I see there's 3 other properties to the, I guess would it be to the west? My directions mixed up. But are they, would the driveway for this new home be relatively the same size as those other 3 driveways? It's just an aesthetics thing, but are we close?
It appears the house directly adjacent is a double wide, so
Right.
I suspect it'd be very close to that
Very
one.
close then.
The other 2 are singles, so it'll be bigger than the other 2.
Yeah, it's just fit, with the neighbors. I just want to make sure the fit is right on that corner. And I support this application. Just want to make sure that the residents were satisfied. So, okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from members? Member Zimmerman, then Member Martin.
This question through the chair to the Miss Seaford, I believe it was. On the southeast corner there is where we're talking about the reduction, and you did mention a triangle. I wonder if you could explain that more, because I do think this has more significance in that spot, being as people will be turning right from Eastgate onto Beausoleil.
Is there just how could I answer that question a little bit better? Because there doesn't seem to be a question there, just more of a
So I'm trying to understand, you talked about a 10-meter triangle. Would you be able to explain, because you said it doesn't encroach on the 10-meter triangle, would you be able to explain where that triangle is, particularly as it relates to the foremost corner at the southeast side?
So the site visibility triangle is typically where those streets meet. So the 2 streets. So that corner of the lot would be where that site triangle is located. I can't necessarily tell you where it is based on the drawing, but I can tell you that it's not impacted by this proposal. I'm not sure what further description I can provide other than that without further reference for you. Does that assist in providing further detail?
Not necessarily, but it's likely in the way I phrased it, so I'm good for the moment. Thank you.
If I might, could it be explained as when you say where the streets meet, if you came 10 meters down both streets and then straight across, that site triangle would definitely fit on that corner. Is that helpful? So it's not encroaching in that space. Okay. Member Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to do a follow-up with Mr. Doyle, sir. If I could just ask you just a quick question, sir. Mr. Doyle, just to follow up to that driveway issue. As far as this variance is the reduction on the to the front yard setback, how is that? You say there's going to be adequate parking. Could you describe what adequate is?
Sure. If you want, do you have the site sketch in front of you?
Yeah, I've got a couple of them here. Yeah.
Okay, so because it's a radius, the way your setbacks work is we offset that radius 6 meters in. So I don't know if you have this particular sketch in front of you.
Right there.
So if you just take a straight line out from the garage there, you'll see that on the setback side of it, the garage takes up a bit more room. So we're going to 4.2 meters from 6.
Okay.
But when you offset the radius back out, we're only encroaching about 1.5 feet, because the radius is quite a bit larger. So really all we're losing is about 1.5 feet of the parking depth, which the parking depth in the zoning bylaw isn't specified. It's specified by the setback of the front yard setback. So we're not losing very much on that corner at all. So that's why we're not concerned whatsoever with being able to park a car in front of that garage on private property.
So by, again, through Madam Chair, so by your understanding, how many feet of parking area would there be after the deduction of the 1.5 feet, whatever?
Feet?
Yeah, just
Maybe
as far, I
about
just want to get the
18?
concept of what you could park in.
About 18 on that,
Okay.
19'8" on the most of it, and that very small sliver right there.
Yep.
You have about 18 feet.
18 feet, great. Thank you very much.
That's just doing quick math or scaling.
No,
something like that.
that's okay. Thank you very much, sir. It's very helpful.
Are there any other questions from members of the committee? Member Zimmerman?
I just want to make, or I wonder, the persons from the public had noted they didn't have concerns if it was even with their house. We've heard that the setback would be 6 meters. I guess I'm asking through the chair if we should confirm that they still have no concerns after hearing that piece.
Okay, what I'm hearing you ask is if Ms. Hastings, who came up to the microphone, she mentioned that they had some concerns and that prior to the meeting, they had been able to have a conversation and receive some information. And I think we're given some additional information about how to read the mapping and what it all meant. And I think they were satisfied. Is that?
My question arises because of the representative from Barry's Construction saying they can't guarantee it's on the level with the other homes, whether that changed or that was consistent with the information they had.
Okay, I think it's consistent with the information that you had been given, that the setback is such and the location of the building is according to the zoning bylaw.
And I'm fine. I thought they were going based on the report from the planner.
Julie, Ms. Steeper, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I don't. I would just say that it is 6 meters and would be meeting the bylaw to be appropriately set back for a single detached dwelling on that side. It's the garage that we're speaking to. That's kind of that front corner that Stu was relating to is where this relief is being sought.
Anything further? Excuse me. Any other questions? Okay, I'd be remiss. Once again, I have some new notes in front of me. I don't believe that there were any other members of the public online. I had asked that at the beginning, but I should have asked at the time. So there weren't any. And I did ask earlier if there were written submissions. I should have said that too. There were no written submissions. Okay. So now I would declare the public hearing to be closed and the committee will now discuss the application. So further to your questions, I'm sorry, I had, when you didn't, go ahead. If you're able to come up to the microphone or we can bring the mic to you. And again, just state your name and we'll just. We need a little remote control to control that from up here, I think. Again, just state your name, please, and then go ahead.
Paul Salter. Bonnie and I had the same questions, and I just really want to confirm that we'll get a new, or Bonnie will get a new map, hand-drawn if necessary, that actually shows where these corners are that are going to be exceeding the bylaw.
Mr. Salter, could you just state your address too, please?
8 Archibald Place.
8 Archibald Place. Okay, so you're interested in
I guess it's for the record. We discussed it, and the porch, if I understand correctly, the porch and most of the garage meets the 6 meter setback.
That's correct.
Just the little corner.
And it's because of the curvature of the road. Okay.
On the map, it really isn't clear that that's the only part that is not meeting it, even though I understand why you're saying it. So it's really just to clarify that in writing so that Bonnie has that. And as far as the side lot setback, we both thought we were talking about as you look at the map, the left-hand side setback, not adjacent to the Hastings property,
Yes?
not the road setback. So just to clarify that in writing so that there's no questions in the future about setbacks.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Is that something we can provide I get a nod from one of the Bruce County Planning staff that further clarification will be provided to you. Thank you very much. I apologize for missing.
No, I think that's it. You can also email it to Ms. Hastings or send it by mail or what.
Yeah, Bruce County Planning will ensure that more information is provided.
I will be sending you a copy of the decision as well, Bonnie. And I believe the decision sheet should specify exterior side yard. And that will be outlined in that decision, so it should be clearer for you.
Okay, I will now declare the public hearing to be closed and the committee will now discuss the application. We've had some questions. Are there any further comments from members of the committee on the application? Okay, seeing none, there is a staff recommendation that I will read. The recommendation is that the application for minor variance from comprehensive zoning bylaw 75-2006 to permit a reduced front yard setback of 4.2 meters and a reduced exterior side yard setback of 2.9 meters for a single detached dwelling is hereby granted subject to the following conditions. Number one, that any future development on the property conforms to the provisions of the zoning bylaw. And number two, that the decision applies only to the proposed development as indicated on Schedule A attached to and forming part of this decision. If members would like to move and second that, we can get that motion on the move by Councillor Stack, seconded by Member Martin. Okay, is there any discussion about the motion? Seeing none then, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? That's carried. So I will just reiterate that the application for minor variance from comprehensive zoning bylaw 75-2006 is granted subject to the conditions I mentioned. And the reasons why it's granted is the variance maintains the intent and purpose of the official plan. The variance maintains the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The variance requested is desirable for the appropriate and orderly development use of the lands and building, and the variance is minor in nature. Okay. The only other thing on our agenda is the date of our next meeting is set for September the 16th, 2024. And I assume by seeing that date that there is at least one application. So September the 16th, 2024. And thank you, Richard, for participating by Zoom. And I would ask for a mover and a seconder that this Committee of Adjustment meeting of August the 26th, 2024 hereby adjourns at 5:30. Moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Myatt, seconded by Councillor Stack. All those in favor, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.